Three of the biggest AI tools on the internet can all write, explain, summarize, and answer questions, but only one of them will actually feel like the best one once real work starts. This video breaks down ChatGPT, Claude, and Gemini in the simplest way possible. Not by hype, not by fan comments, and not by who has the loudest users, but by what each tool is actually best at in real life. Writing, coding, research, everyday use, and which one gives the most useful output when the prompt is not perfect. By the end, viewers will know which AI is best for beginners, which one is best for serious work, and which one is best depending on the job. Because the truth is, there is no single winner for everyone, but there is a winner for the kind of work being done. The biggest mistake most people make is asking, which AI is smartest? When the better question is, which AI helps the most with the least friction? That sounds small, but it changes everything. Because most people do not use AI to solve abstract benchmark problems. They use it to write emails faster, turn messy thoughts into clear plans, summarize long information, brainstorm ideas, fix code, compare options, and save time without fighting the tool. So before choosing a winner, this video has to define what best actually means. Otherwise, the answer becomes useless. When someone opens ChatGPT, Claude, or Gemini for the first time, they often look similar. There is a prompt box. There is a polished interface. There are promises about reasoning, productivity, and creativity. On the surface, they all seem like different flavors of the same thing. But after real use, the differences start showing up fast. One tool might give a cleaner answer on the first try. Another might feel calmer and more structured with long writing. Another might be strongest when tied into search, documents, email, or a bigger ecosystem. That is when the real comparison begins. So this is the core lens for the whole video. Which AI gives the most useful result, with the least cleanup, for the kind of work most people actually do? Because if one tool is slightly smarter in theory but takes twice as much effort to guide, correct, and reprompt, then for many people it is not actually better. It is just more work wearing a smarter costume. And that leads straight into the first real battle: everyday usefulness. If someone only used one AI tool for daily life, school, content, work, and random questions, one platform starts to pull ahead. This is where overall versatility matters more than niche strength. The best daily AI is the one that can switch modes fast without falling apart. Quick answers, longer explanations, writing. Because most users do not live in one category. They move between 5 different tasks in the same hour. ChatGPT is usually the easiest all-around pick for broad, everyday use. That is because it has become more than a simple chat tool. It now leans into writing, coding, editing, visual workflows, project organization, and deeper research. For many users, that makes it feel less like a one-shot chatbot and more like a general workbench. That matters more than it sounds. A strong everyday AI is not just about raw answers. It is about momentum. Can someone jump from brainstorming a YouTube title, to rewriting a message, to mapping out a business idea, to refining a script, to doing deeper research without switching tools or losing context? ChatGPT often feels built for that kind of movement. Claude, on the other hand, often feels calmer and more deliberate. For many users, Claude's biggest strength in day-to-day use is the way it handles long-form writing and thoughtful structure. It often feels like it is trying to understand the shape of the task before speaking. That can make it feel more polished, more measured, and sometimes more natural when the goal is quality over speed. Gemini feels different from both of them. Gemini's day-to-day strength is that it sits closer to Google's world. That means for users already living inside Gmail, Docs, Sheets, Drive, and Google Search, it can feel convenient in a very practical way, not always because the words are more impressive, but because the workflow is smoother for people already inside that ecosystem. So, which is best day to day? For the average user who wants one tool to do almost everything well, ChatGPT is usually the safest overall winner. For users who care most about long writing, careful tone, and more thoughtful feeling output, Claude can feel better. For users deeply tied into Google's ecosystem, Gemini can feel the most natural to keep using. And that sets up the next battle, because everyday use is one thing, but when the task gets serious, the ranking can change. This is where opinions get intense, because all three can write, but they do not write the same way. Some AIs write fast. Some write clean. Some write in a way that feels more human. And some need much less editing after the first draft. If the goal is scripts, essays, outlines, emails, landing pages, or content ideas, then writing quality matters more than flashy features. Claude has earned a strong reputation for writing, and there is a reason for that. Its output often feels smooth, calm, and less overeager. It tends to do well when the task needs thoughtful tone, strong structure, and fewer gimmicks. For long-form content, many users feel Claude gives them something closer to a usable draft instead of a loud first attempt that still needs taming. That is a major advantage. ChatGPT is also very strong at writing, but its strength often shows up differently. It can move faster between tones and formats. It is flexible. It can brainstorm, rewrite, simplify, dramatize, shorten, or expand without much friction. For creators and business users, that flexibility is powerful because the same tool can go from script writing to ad copy to planning to editing in one session. Gemini can absolutely write, but when compared head-to-head, it often feels strongest when writing is tied to information flow and Google-connected tasks rather than pure writing feel alone. So for pure writing quality, many users would give Claude the edge. But there is an important twist. Best writing does not always mean best writing tool. Because if a creator needs not just elegant paragraphs, but also brainstorming, comparison, editing, research, formatting help, and workflow control, ChatGPT can become the better total package even if Claude wins on certain long-form writing preferences. So the writing winner depends on what writing really means. If it means most polished long-form text, Claude is a serious contender for first place. If it means best complete writing workflow, ChatGPT may take it. And then comes the category where Claude's reputation gets even stronger. When the task shifts from writing words to building systems, the balance changes fast. Coding is one of the clearest places where these tools separate. This is not just about writing a few lines of code. It is about debugging, planning logic, handling larger technical tasks, and staying useful over longer sessions. Because this is where people stop caring about style and start caring about whether the tool can actually deliver. Claude is extremely strong in coding and technical workflows. Anthropic's own materials heavily position Claude around coding, agents, and computer use, and that is not an accident. Claude often shines when handling structured technical prompts, code transformations, refactors, and more sustained logic-heavy work. That does not mean ChatGPT is weak at coding. Far from it. ChatGPT is still one of the strongest coding assistants available, especially when users need a broader toolset around the code itself. It can help reason through bugs, explain concepts, rewrite logic, work through files, and pair code help with research and planning in a more all-in-one environment. For many users, that makes it feel more complete even if another tool edges ahead in a narrower coding lane. Gemini is also very capable, especially through Google's developer ecosystem and advanced models. But for many general users comparing raw coding feel inside the consumer-facing experience, it is less often the first tool people reach for. So if the question is simple, the answer is simple. For coding-first users, Claude is often the strongest choice. For users who code but also need research, writing, editing, and a wider general-purpose assistant, ChatGPT stays extremely competitive. And now, the most interesting category of all, because this is where a lot of people decide what best AI really means now. This is where AI stops being a toy and starts acting like an actual work tool. Research today is not just asking a question and getting a paragraph back. It is searching, comparing sources, organizing findings, and helping people move from confusion to decisions. And in 2026, this category matters more than almost everything else, because AI that can actually help with research saves huge amounts of time. ChatGPT has pushed hard into deeper research workflows. Official OpenAI materials position it for multi-step research, synthesis, cited reports, and project-based work. That makes it powerful for users who want AI to help think through a problem rather than just generate a quick answer. Gemini is also very strong here, especially because its research experience is tightly connected to Google Search and the broader Google ecosystem. Google explicitly frames Gemini's deep research as a way to do in-depth, real-time research using search and other connected sources. For users who trust Google's information pipeline and live in Docs, Drive, and Gmail, that is a big advantage. Claude can still help a lot with analysis, summaries, reasoning, and document work, but in the public product positioning, Claude tends to feel more centered on thoughtful output, coding, and structured work than on owning the broadest research workflow narrative. So who wins research? If the task is deep structured synthesis with a broader productivity environment, ChatGPT has a strong case. If the task is real-time information flow tied into Google's world, Gemini becomes extremely compelling. That means this category does not have a universal winner. It has a workflow winner. And that leads to the question most viewers clicked for in the first place. After all the hype, the real answer is both simpler and less satisfying than people expect. There is no single best AI in every category. There is only the best AI for the type of user and the type of work. So instead of forcing one winner, this section gives the real verdict. If the viewer wants the best overall all-rounder, ChatGPT is the best pick. It is the most balanced across everyday use, writing flexibility, research workflows, broad productivity, and moving between different task types without much friction. It feels like the best default recommendation for the largest number of people. If the viewer wants the best AI for writing quality and serious coding power, Claude is one of the strongest choices available. It often feels more measured in writing, and it is especially respected for coding-heavy workflows. For users who want depth, structure, and technical strength, Claude is not just competitive. In some lanes, it is the favorite. If the viewer wants the best AI for Google-centered productivity, Gemini makes the most sense. For people already living inside Gmail, Docs, Sheets, Drive, and Search, Gemini can feel less like adding another tool, and more like upgrading the system they already use every day. So here is the cleanest ranking possible. For most people, ChatGPT. For writers and coders who want a very strong focused tool, Claude. For people deeply inside Google's ecosystem, Gemini. That is the honest answer. Not the loudest answer, not the most tribal answer, the useful answer. And here is the part that matters most. The best AI is rarely the one with the most hype. It is the one that removes the most friction from the work already being done. That means a student might pick differently than a programmer. A creator might pick differently than a researcher. A business owner might pick differently than someone who just wants a smarter everyday assistant. So the smartest move is not asking which AI won the internet this week. The smartest move is asking which AI keeps giving strong results without wasting time. Right now, that makes ChatGPT the best overall answer for most users. But it does not make Claude worse. It makes Claude more specialized and often stronger in specific high-value lanes. And it does not make Gemini weak. It makes Gemini most powerful when used, where Google's ecosystem gives it leverage. That is the real ranking, not one king. 3 different winners depending on the job. ChatGPT is winning the all-around game. Claude is winning trust from many serious writers and coders. Gemini is trying to win by becoming the smartest choice for people already living inside Google. So the best AI is not the one with the biggest name. It is the one that fits the task so well that the work starts feeling easier almost immediately. And once that clicks, the question stops being, which AI is actually best? It becomes, best for what? That is where the real answer was hiding the whole time.